Hey guys, it's Bro You Whack. Welcome back to the weekly, not every week, but sometimes series called 3 Years Ago, where we take a specific hero in Overwatch and we have a nostalgia trip of how they changed over the past 3 years, and we cry because they're just not as good as they once were, sorta like us in real life. Now, the whole point of this series is to obviously go on a nostalgic trip, but to also gain an appreciation for what Blizzard has done when it comes to balancing specific heroes that some people might not have even remembered or might not have even experienced. And there's some time periods in Overwatch's lifespan that was dedicated to one specific hero. At the very beginning of Overwatch, it was Widowmaker. More recently, it was Brigitte. In the middle of Overwatch, it was really Mercy. But then there's that one hero that received numerous changes throughout the 3 years of Overwatch due to the fact that this specific hero caused so much pain, so much suffering, and so much anxiety every single time you heard this sound.
Want some candy?
You deserve a veteran's discount if you had to go through the warfield that was known as the Roadhog meta. There was once a point in time where Roadhog was the best hero of all time, not because he was just powerful, but because he was literally broken. I'm not saying Brigitte broken, I'm literally talking about his hook being broken, and that's why we're doing this video, to look at how his hook has changed, how his character has changed, how his toolkit has changed, and everything, and how he's stood up in the meta, if he's still a great tank nowadays, or if they should go back to where he once was before. Probably not, but maybe. This is gonna be Roadhog 3 years ago. So beginning this video, like every single one of these, we have to go back to May 24th, 2016 to the release date of Overwatch, one of the greatest FPS games to ever grace upon this green earth. And right away, there was already some problems. To really see how Roadhog contributed to a lot of these problems in Overwatch, we have to compare how Roadhog is played nowadays to how he was played 3 years ago. Because how you play Roadhog nowadays is that you have a hook and a scrap gun that can maybe secure you an insta-kill, but it can definitely secure a kill with 2 shots, but you have to be very accurate with your hook, and if a hero does break line of sight or is taking their momentum behind a wall or behind a pole, your hook will get detached from them, meaning that you won't be able to punish them if they move behind the wall, or you just won't be able to get an easy hook because they're not in your hook line of sight. Nowadays, we think that's a pretty good system. If we actively are trying to dodge the hook or if we break line of sight, yeah, the hook shouldn't pull us around the corner. But if you remember 3 years ago, you know how Roadhog's hook worked, because if he had that hook ready, and if you were in the general area of a hook, you were going to get hooked. It didn't matter if you were moving behind a wall. It didn't matter if you literally were behind a wall. How Roadhog was played is that if he threw a hook in your general direction, it was going to hook you, and it was gonna pull you around the corner. And to make matters worse, this was also the time where his scrap gun was so powerful. So his hook would pull you literally right in front of his titties, and his scrap gun would instantly one-shot you. It didn't matter if you were a Reaper, a Mei, or if you were a 150 HP Tracer. You were going to die if you were a Squishy. And this is what made Roadhog so broken, is that his hook was literally broken. You can hook someone across the map behind the wall. So many montages were made based on this broken aspect of Roadhog, but to make matters worse, his scrap gun was the most powerful gun in the game because it instantly secured you a kill. So this started a huge outcry, mainly from DPS players, to nerf Roadhog. You think Brigitte was bad? Roadhog was just as bad. So Blizzard heard the outcries and they started to fix Roadhog with the very first patch coming on July 19th to his whole hog ability. God dang it, that's the wrong one! Roadhog's ultimate cost increased by 45%, that's actually a lot. But the first real change came on September 1st, 2016 to his chain hook ability. Finally, the cries are being heard, but it's going to be cries that are still going to be long lasting, because while this first change to his hook is good, where if you're not in his line of sight that you're going to be put back to where you were originally hooked, that fixes the problem when you were around the corner, but still not the broken aspect. So another change came on January 24th, and it was really just the positioning of Roadhog versus the hook that changed with this patch when it came to the hook's positions, Roadhog positions, also bringing the target that was hooked straight in front of Roadhog to just try to fix this this easy hook one-shot aspect, because again, this is what made Roadhog good, was that he instantly secured kills even though the player on the enemy team wasn't necessarily being a bad player or deserved to be punished. It was just he was a victim of this Roadhog system. So Blizzard took note of that and still decided to work more on Roadhog, because the whole beginning of 2017 was just focused on Roadhog, the meta, the nerfs, the buffs, whatever, it was all focused around him. So this new change on February 28th, his scrap gun did get buffed a little bit, but his chain hook, the cooldown increased from 6 to 8 seconds. That meant you couldn't just slang your hook anywhere and be a hook whore. No, you actually had to be a little bit more strategic, because if you missed, well, now you have to wait 8 long seconds. But the thing was, though, good players aren't really going to be affected by that, because they're going to throw one hook out on a DPS player, and because of how Roadhog is built, they just need that one hook to win that team fight and start this snowball, because they got that easy one hook and insta-kill combo going on. So the problem is still there. This was just a band-aid and an easy solution without drastically changing Roadhog. And it wasn't until June 20th, 2017 that drastic change finally came. And still to this day, I'm torn on this patch. Like, it's a hit or miss for me, and word to TikTok, I kind of think they missed on it. I don't know, but on June 20th, Roadhog received a change to his scrap gun where his bullet damage was decreased by 33%, meaning you couldn't get the one-shot hook combos anymore, but you could fire a lot faster and you had an extra bullet. So it was a change to Roadhog that allowed him to bring down shields, but you just couldn't get those easy one-shot kills anymore. And that's how you played Roadhog. So that killed the ego of Roadhog, because everyone thought he was useless because he couldn't get the one-shot hook combos anymore. And that pushed him out of the meta for a long time, because he was this big giant ult batter for the enemy team that they didn't have to fear anymore, because they weren't going to get instantly deleted every single time a hook came, because now the hook was a lot more accurate and his scrap gun wasn't as deadly as it was before, and they just had to fire into him to be able to build their ultimate. So that's why he was pushed out. 1, he was nerfed, and 2, he didn't do his job anymore, and 3, he wasn't respected. He really wasn't. So because they created this hero that is the 600 HP tank that couldn't get insta-kills anymore, had no protection for themselves, and just fed the enemy team ult charge, they had to go back and rework Roadhog some more. And on August 29th, they came with an update to his heal ability. His Take a Breather now can be used while he's moving, and the damage taken while he's healing was reduced by 50%, meaning that you weren't just a sitting or sitting pig. That was a bad joke. You weren't just this target that people can just fire into whenever you were doing your job, which was healing yourself. That was his form of protection, was that, yeah, I might not have a shield, but I have this heal ability, but I'm punished while I'm healing. So now you're able to move around while doing it. That's actually an ability that I completely forgot about, because I'm so used to just healing while I'm moving, because it makes sense. Why do I have to stand still while I don't know why that was the case. Was he one of the greatest heroes of all time after this? God, no. He was one of, if not the worst hero for a good year or so. It wouldn't be until September 11th, again, another year, till where he would receive another major change, and this is where he received a change to his scrap gun range, where it increased from about 15 meters on average to 25 meters on average, meaning that he didn't have to rely on his hook to get those kills. Now he could just simply get kills with a scrap gun, and I felt like that was always something Roadhog was missing, was just his own identity. Because whenever you think about Roadhog, you don't think about Roadhog and his scrap gun and his, no, you always thought about Roadhog's hook. He got kills with his hook. You used Roadhog because of his hook. Now, you can kind of use him without relying on the hook. Doesn't mean he wasn't a bad hero, because he would receive another change a couple months later, and the last major change up until this point, because with this update, he received a change not only to his hook, but his scrap gun, and even his whole hog ultimate ability, where his chain hook was just a little bit better and had a little bit more effect on the game whenever you did use it. His scrap gun was a lot more consistent, and his whole hog was just overall better, because again, you never really use Hog for his ultimate, and you still really don't, but here there's a little bit more purpose when you use it, because now you're doing a little bit more damage. But there is still one more change that Roadhog was destined to receive that would change his path forever. It wasn't the hook changes, it wasn't the scrap gun nerf, no, it was on June 3rd, 2019, that his voice line from "You're a talker, I don't like talker" changed from "I beached as bro, what the heck does that mean? That change doesn't make sense, but Hog was never a hero that ever made sense. He was always confusing, and when it came to the community and his viewpoint on him, he is still confusing to this very day. Whether you think about Roadhog 3 years ago or Roadhog nowadays, people still don't understand how he works or how his hook works because they think they're the greatest of all time and they don't deserve to be punished when they're out of position, and the enemy plat Hog just decides to hook him and kill them instantly. It don't make sense, but that's the beauty of Roadhog, and that was Roadhog 3 years ago. He was a hero that was quite literally broken, mainly his hook, and every single patch there was always something changing with his hook because that's Hog. And it's kind of sad because, again, Hog is a hero that deserves to be loved for who he is, not just because of his big, giant, massive, girthy hook. But hopefully over time he can get his own identity to where he can be used just by himself and not in tandem with another hero, sort of like how he is right now with Orisa. You use the Orisa ult with the Roadhog hook and you do this pulled pork tactic that is extremely effective, that is kind of making Roadhog come back as one of the most meta tanks of all time. And it's kind of weird because he was always like that, and Orisa was always like that. But he wasn't always like that because you literally could use Roadhog by himself because he was just one of the best insta-killing tanks of all time. And that was Roadhog 3 years ago. So anyway, guys, please let me know what you think about Roadhog 3 years ago, if you ever played him, or nowadays. But I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. More Overwatch videos to come, and bye.